My brain's gonna explode. There's something sinister afoot, absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Slightly Biased Show here at the incredible Haymaker Studios, the Haymaker Network. If you're not subscribed, link down below. Make sure you do that. This will be the last Slightly Biased Show for a little bit. There won't be any Slightly Biased Show next week. I'll be traveling in Mexico. Again, that's what us Mexicans call it, Mexico in Spanish, right? It just means Mexico in Spanish, guys. Just in case you're a little unaware of that. In Texas, you speak a little Spanglish, just in case you were unaware of what that meant. So that's where I'll be next week. I do want to sort of tweak the show a little bit once we get back. A lot of fun things planned in store. And you know what else is fun? The House of Haymaker. The house that Haymaker built, some are saying. Have you watched House of Haymaker yet? It's every weekday at noon on the Haymaker Network. It features the whole cast of Haymaker talking Dallas sports. All sports adjacent, and maybe we don't even do sports. It's whatever we want to talk about. Today, Jeff Kavanaugh, Ben, Skin, and Nick Harris look at the Cowboys' possible free agents, and Skin takes a look at all the possibilities for the Mavericks at pick numero 9. That's 9, guys, in Spanish, just in case you weren't aware of that. House of Haymaker every weekday at noon. I'll be on tomorrow with Skin, KT, and a special appearance from Laud Nation. I have a funny Laud Nation story. And ESPN's Ben Baby. Check out House of Haymaker, available on all platforms. Just like this show. And if you're listening on audio devices, make sure you leave a 5-star review. It goes such a long way. If you're watching this stream, make sure you like it. My hair's looking, damn. I'm trying out some new product. And Jesus Christ, looks like I just got out the pool.
Did you dye your hair?
Do I what?
Did you dye it?
Yeah, it's the whites are really coming in. No, I'd be accepting of the white of just become. I would like gray hair, silver hair. I think it's a sick look.
We're gonna take that out of context. We're gonna mark that. Thank you.
That's fine. That's okay with me. A funny Laud Nation story. If you guys aren't aware, Laud Nation, a big Cowboys YouTuber, was here for the Haymaker draft show, the NFL draft show. Somehow, I guess he simulcasted the live stream of the draft show on his channel. And somehow, some way, a Slightly Biased Show ended up getting live simulcasted onto his channel. And we hit him up. We're like, hey, we accidentally started live streaming. Like, our bad. Like, you want to end it, you can end it. That's our fault. He said, no, it's cool. Let it rock. It just lived on his channel. And everybody in his chat was like, what the fuck is this? What is on the screen right now?
That was my favorite part in the correspondence with Law was, hey, man, don't worry, you can turn it off. And he's like, nah, man, they love it. And then I go check to see how much they're loving it. And they're like, what the hell?
They're like, who's this?
Who's this white boy here? What's he talking about?
What is this? Just a hilarious moment. You can
go see it for yourself right now. Head to his channel.
It is probably on the Law Nation YouTube channel. It's still up there. We got a good show for you guys today. Kofi's going to be joining us at 1:30 to talk Detroit Pistons. I promise. I don't know what the string here. I had scheduled to have him on before last night's game. I really thought the Pistons were going to win. So I'm not trying to do humiliation rituals of all of my internet friends. You know, we had Jack on last week. I planned that in advance, and then the Nuggets got eliminated. And then I had Trill on. I really thought they were going to win Game 3, and then the Sixers lost Game 3. So I'm not planning on doing this, but it just ends up being what's happened, and I feel poorly for that. And then Noah Weber is going to join us, obviously, a friend of the show, obviously a member of the Unblockables, the incredible Mavs Twitter tournament run to the Final Four. He was a big part of that. People said TJ McConnell, and that's just a race sort of thing with him. Much more Jose Alvarado coded. The way that he gets after it defensively. Pesky, right? He's going to join the show here in about an hour or so to go over the draft combine. He is there. We're going to talk some of the draft prospects who are doing well at the combine, targets for the Mavs in the 9 range, and just the NBA draft in general. So it's a good show for you guys today. I do want to start with just some funny clips that I've seen floating around the internet as we ramble a little bit about this. I love this quote right here. Our friend, our good friend Isaac Harris, who is I almost said Nick Harris. It's not Nick Harris, but how about this? Nick Harris, obviously Haymaker, friend of Haymaker, Nick Harris, but a fusion of Nick Angstad and Isaac Harris. How about that? We combined them together to form one beast. I'm going to do that, actually. I'm actually going to create an AI version of Nick Angstad and Isaac Harris. I'm going to fuse them together, make it an AI version. I'm going to start a show called Locked In Mavericks. And it's going to be purely AI driven. And I'm going to monetize it immediately. And I don't know, sooner or later, we will run Locked On out of business. Which, there's no benefit in it for me. I go on Locked On, obviously. But if I'm running the Locked In network, then there is some upside in it for me. So that's something that we're considering doing here. Just something to think about. I like this quote right here. Now, I've come around a tiny bit on Darius Acuff, I have to say. Might be a conversation for another day. Basically, I've gone from do not draft this guy under any circumstances. You're going to regret it big time to, yeah, I guess I kind of see it. Yeah, I guess it kind of makes some sense. That's where I'm at. But I like this quote right here. Can you guys hear it?
I just rather do it, but yeah, I just feel like my mentality is different. I think the game speaks for itself. I'm not a guy to sit up here and tell you, a lot of stuff. I just rather do it, but yeah, I just feel like my mentality is different than others, and my approach to the game is way different. And I think I'm just cut from a different cloth than other people.
When you hear doubts about your size at the next level, how do you take that internally?
We play basketball. Game ain't about height. It's about who got the biggest heart, who can hoop. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really care like that.
How do you feel like you?
I love that mentality. Now, here's the harsh truth. The game is about height. So that's kind of the harsh reality of it for Acuff. The game is about height. But I love the mentality, though, because what's he going to say? No, actually, we've been working, and I'm trying to grow 5 inches. We've actually been working on it. Me and the guys, the training staff, I'm trying to get to 6'8" by the time the draft gets here. Of course, what's he going to say? But it is kind of funny because it's like, the game's not about height. It's like, well, unfortunately, it is a little bit. Sadly, I wish it weren't the case. I really do. But it is just a tiny bit. So, yeah, don't get me wrong. We're all trying to grow 5 inches. Sorry about that. That's just what the chat said. Some other draft stuff, some other stuff going around from the combine. AJ DeBonce's preference is reportedly to remain in Utah and get drafted by the Jazz. So I'm so intrigued by how this is going to play out once the draft actually gets here. Everybody is just dead set it's AJ DeBonce, and then I've seen Darren Peterson it too. Now, Cam Boozer's had a good combine. I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes to the fact this guy is maybe a little bit more agile than we thought. No, this guy actually is massive. Like this idea that he's some undersized player, this guy's actually ginormous, right? And I do feel as we get closer to the draft, what's going to happen, at least in the draft analysis sphere, is people are going to look at the body of work for Cam Boozer, and they're going to say, all right, we're overthinking this a little bit, aren't we? I think that's going to be what happens, and I think some of your really smart draft analysts that people tend to follow the ideas of are going to say, hey, Cam Boozer's kind of a little one-of-one territory with the size and the production at such a young age in college. And I think we're going to start to see more of an upward trend for Cam Boozer. Now, I know how these teams operate, right? All these teams are very analytically slanted. Even the teams that you wouldn't traditionally think are analytically slanted, they are in some capacity. These are NBA franchises. They're worth billions of dollars. So they want the biggest upper hand they can get. And a lot of the times that's through their advanced analytic departments, right? Every advanced analytic there is, and I cannot even imagine one that's not like this, is going to have Cam Boozer 101. There's not going to be one that doesn't. I cannot even imagine a draft model. I'm trying to think what would have to go into a draft model to not have Cam Boozer first overall. Now, there is the marketing and business side where it's AJ DeBonza has, he's got the aura, rainbow face, right? He's got that face of the franchise stature about him, right? Almost bigger than the game itself. You can imagine that with him. And the way that he plays, the way that he carries himself, the just raw athleticism, he's going to put together highlight reels that are absolutely insane. And he's going to be a really good NBA player, no two ways around it. But I do wonder as we get closer to the draft, is there going to be more of an actual push for Cam Boozer to go first? That's the question. That's the number one question I have the closer we get to the draft. And that's what I'm really excited to see how it all plays out. Just because it's so hard to ignore this stuff. It really is with them. And I cannot get behind at all the Darren Peterson 101 stuff. That to me makes no sense. I don't really know where that's coming from. It makes no sense at all to me. Okay, when we talk about safe floors and things like that, I've seen people say Darren Peterson has the safest floor. I can't for the life of me understand that. Why? Why exactly? This is a guy who had some strange reoccurring cramping problem all year long. And hey, it was because he was taking whatever it was, creatine. It's because he was taking creatine. Okay, cool. Do I know that for sure? Because if this is some reoccurring thing for some whatever reason, then that's a problem. But also, like, he's just living off of his anthros a little bit. Or not his anthros, his priors. Right? Like, that's it. It's like, well, the playmaking, it was better in high school. Well, why wasn't it good at all in Kansas? That's why I don't. Why it was the system and scheme. Yeah, but like true top-end prospects have succeeded despite that on numerous of occasions. It's kind of interesting. You go back and you look at Dylan Harper from last year. That Rutgers team was a disgrace to the sport. The fact that they had Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, the rest of that team was so fucking bad, and God bless everyone else on it. The rest of that team was so bad that when you actually like kind of looked deeper into what Dylan Harper was doing, it's actually miraculous the rim pressure that he was putting out there, considering the spacing and the teammates surrounding him. Right? So I don't know, man. Darren Peterson scares me the more I think about him. Like, the more time has gone on and I thought about Darren Peterson, the more I'm like, Now, that's not to say I wouldn't draft him in the top 4. Of course I would. But I wouldn't draft him in the top 2, I don't think. No way I would pick him over Cam Boozer. No way I would pick him over AJ. And I probably wouldn't even pick him over Caleb. Like, I think I might have him 4th there. Dude, it's really a shame. It really is. Because I'm thinking, like, how fun this would be if the Mavs had a top 4 pick. Just how fun these conversations would be. Over and over and over. It'd be 6 weeks straight of just non-stop talking yourself into guys, talking yourself out of guys. We should trade down. Should we? Oh, man. We got robbed that. Now we're sitting at 9.
That would have been so awesome.
It really would have been, man. I mean, there would have been huge debates, and there still will be. Like, don't get me wrong. If this is stuff that you follow and you like the NBA draft, there's going to be huge debates over the next, however many weeks. Who should go 1? Who should go 2? Who should go 3? Who should go 4? And then beyond that, like, who should go 5? This is a really fun draft class for narratives, for conversation, and all of that. And it's still fun at 9. But yeah, it's really unfortunate that my team is talking about Braden Burries. Like, and no offense to him, I hope he's good. But my team's like, should we draft Braden Burries or should we draft LeBaron Philon? And I'm like, dude, just shoot me in the fucking face. And again, I don't mean that because like of any God bless those guys, and I hope they're really good. Especially if they end up on the Mavericks. But shoot me in the face, honestly.
Respectfully,
100%. Even the conversation at 6 would have been fun debating all those guards. Yeah, true. But, Chris Middleton's developmental minutes, they really did just sort of trump all. So
we had to get those in.
We did. And that's going to be really big for him moving forward. Again, an unrestricted free agent, too, by the way.
A lot of upside.
Yeah, tons of stuff to tap into. I really do love when people are like, well, you needed the veteran leadership. It's like, do you? Like, is that not a little bit like, dude, Klay Thompson's on the team. Kyrie Irving's on the team. How much veteran leadership do we need for a 26-win team?
You need veteran leadership for a playoff run. Let the coach handle it for lottery team.
Guys, let me let you in on a little secret. When you have 26 wins, you don't need veteran leadership. You need AJ Johnson playing 42 minutes in a game. That's what you need. We don't need, dude, that turnaround jumper, Coop saw that, and he's got it. No. We need A.J. Johnson going 3 of 18 for 48 minutes in a game, okay? That's what needs to happen when you win 26 games. Simple as that. So anyways, I don't want to harp on that too much because I know people get annoyed by tanking talk and so on and so forth, but it is what it is. I saw this from our guy, Kendrick Perkins. This is... I'm going to understand your initial gut reaction to this, but honestly, let's kind of think about it. And I'm not going to play the full clip because, this isn't First Take. This is a Slightly Biased show, and it's 2 minutes long. But this is just a quote from it. Luka is starting to get in that territory of Joel Embiid. When you need him the most, and it comes postseason time, he's not available. So keep in mind here, Joel Embiid has played, I believe, under half of the games in his career. Are we at that point now? So I don't know if I can get here or not, but this actually does open the door to an interesting conversation regarding Luka, where is this something that's concerning at all? Because he obviously missed the entire postseason here. The hamstring is terrible. I was telling you guys that weeks ago, that there's just no way that he was going to play this postseason, and he should not have, by the way. Right? There was zero reason whatsoever for the Lakers to rush Luka back from a hamstring injury. We have seen guys' careers get fucked because of that. Think about, James Harden is one of the prime examples. Rushed back from a hamstring injury and was just never really the same. Aaron Gordon played with a hamstring injury last year and was injured the entire season this year, and then was hurt in the biggest moments for the Nuggets. OG Anunoby, what was that, 2 years ago? He tried to rush the hamstring injury, and then it was followed up by a season of just kind of weird stuff. So it's just like rushing back from these things can be catastrophic, right? Now, is it concerning, the injury stuff with Luka? Because you might see this and you might think, what are you talking about? He's only missed, this postseason he missed, obviously, and then before that he only missed 3 playoff games total. But how many healthy playoff runs has Luka had? And I understand, people are going to be banged up during the playoffs. That goes without being said. But when you think about it, his bubble year, healthy going into it, twisted his ankle in game 3 against the Clippers. Came out of that game, I think went back in, but was very limited the rest of that game. Of course, had that historic, iconic game 4 right after. So I don't think it really was much of an effect on him. Was relatively healthy in 2021, if memory serves me correctly. I think he had a neck thing or a shoulder thing that was kind of bothering him, but was fantastic in that series. And then from then on out, it was kind of always something, right? 22, missed the first 3 games of the Jazz series with the calf strain, came back. Fortunately, Jalen Brunson was on his way to taking a superstar leap, so the Mavs were up 2-1 in that series. But had the calf thing early on. How much did that affect him as we got later in the playoffs? Obviously, he was incredible in the Phoenix Suns series. And then that whole Mavericks team just gassed out against the Warriors, right? They were clearly outmatched a little bit. The Warriors went on to win the finals. They had no answer for Kevon Looney. That led to JaVale McGee getting a big contract. That led to Christian Wood joining the team. That's how bad Kevon Looney low-key fucking set the franchise back a year. Think about that. That team was in the Western Conference Finals, and Kevon Looney shit on him so bad that it set the franchise back a year because they overpaid JaVale McGee and they traded for Christian Wood. Think about that for a second. But that whole team was gassed. Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, so much love in my heart for those guys. Those guys could barely move by the time the Warriors series got there. And Reggie Bullock, that was the end of his career, basically. Gave it all he had. Always got love for him. And then 2024, the finals run, obviously. Anybody who was watching that, anyone who was watching that, just be honest with yourself. The Luka Doncic we saw during the regular season, which in my opinion was the best Luka has ever been, should have won MVP, was the best player in the world for that regular season, 100%. Come playoff time, he was clearly just riddled with injuries. With the knee injury that sort of popped up in February of that season, it clearly was not himself, right? Still managed to play well, still managed to play at a star level. And fortunately, that roster was good. Credit to Nico Harrison. The vision was there. That roster was good, and they were able to sort of pick up a little bit of the slack. Kyrie was incredible in the Clipper series. PJ was incredible in the Thunder series. And honestly, low-key, so was Kyrie. And I know Kyrie's numbers weren't very good in that series, counting numbers-wise, but the way he handled double teams from the Thunder was fantastic. And obviously, the Mavs bigs were super good in that series. And then the Timberwolves, Luka was starting to sort of, I took it more of Luka learned an old man game in the process there. He's never been an uber athlete or anything, but he figured out, okay, I know the limitations of my knee, what I can, what I can't do maybe. So I'm just going to make do with what I got. And that was his best series in that run. It was the Timberwolves series, obviously, and Kyrie was incredible in it. And then come finals, everybody shit themselves. And Luka was kind of by himself a little bit. But clearly wasn't the same. Last year, out of shape, weird year for him. The calf stuff clearly wasn't the Luka we're accustomed to, and then this year missed it all. It's an interesting conversation. And I don't know what the takeaway is. Is he Joel Embiid? Of course not. That's fucking insane, right? He's not starting to get in that territory. That's a crazy thing to say, right? But is it, who's a better comp? Is he getting into the Giannis territory? Where sneaky, you look at Giannis's career, and obviously Giannis has a ring, but you look at Giannis's playoff career, and it's damn, he's kind of been hurt a lot, right? You don't think about it. It's not the first thing that pops into your head, but the more you sit down and you look at it, you're yeah, he has kind of been hurt, and he has missed some of these playoff games and some of these playoff series, and it's really kind of, limited what his team can do because of that. And it's not his fault, but it's just the way that it is, right? So I don't know, man. It's an interesting conversation. it's something that I'm a little bit concerned about just from afar. Like the soft tissue injuries, they are kind of piling up. It's been calf injuries, hamstring now, and a bad hamstring injury. Like this was a bad one. This was like if this were in the regular season, the only reason we're even really talking about him coming back was because of the fact that it was the playoffs. I mean, this is like a 2-month injury? It was probably what it would have been in a regular season scenario. A full 2-month hamstring injury. I don't know. It's something to think about. I've been banging the table on this, and even before the 2024 finals run, when the knee really got bad, even before that, he had these like lingering pop-up soft tissue injuries. Remember, it was the thigh. He had that thigh problem for like the entirety of 2023, a whole like year. This thigh, we kept hearing this thigh is like really fucking with Luka. It's really bothering him, and yet he'd go out there and play 42 minutes a night and have a 38% usage rate. And it's like, okay, like maybe we tone this down, right? Maybe we tone this down. So I don't know if the answer is, oh, Luka is just injury prone, whatever. I think it's more like, can we tone back the regular season workload on Luka? I think that's what you have to do. And this is where the things get interesting for the Lakers, because there's a lot of disdain in Lakers Kingdom, Lakers Nation, Purple Nation. What do they call themselves? The Purple and Gold? The Purple and Gold Nation? What did Lakers Nation call them? Is it Lakers Nation, right?
Lakers Nation, right?
Lakers Nation, the nation. There's a lot of disdain for Austin Reeves right now. Sign and trade him. You can't pay him X amount of dollars. Well, then what's going to be your solution? Well, who's going to be the second guy? Somebody has to handle some of the load in the regular season. And that's why I'm like the LeBron leaving stuff, I understand it. I get like we don't want to pay him X amount of dollars, and you're starting to get. I haven't all year long. I've been like I'm closing my eyes and trying to imagine LeBron on another team right now, and I'm having a hard time doing it. But we're starting to get some of those tell-all pieces right now. Where it's like LeBron didn't like the fact that the Lakers front office was asking execs how much money would you play this player without saying the name, and it was LeBron James. They didn't like the fact that he didn't get the game ball after setting the record for most wins. Like you're starting to get these where it's just like a build-up, right? That I'm starting to get a little bit worried about. But if LeBron does leave, right, and I get, you don't want to pay LeBron $50 million, that's totally fair. Like, you have to have a third guy now. You can't just have Luka and Reeves. There has to be another guy who's there. Like, part of the thing that made LeBron incredible, especially at 41 years old, is like, Luka and Reeves can miss time, and then here comes LeBron, 41 years old. Hey, don't worry. I'll shoulder the load. I'll lead us. I'll basically lead us, myself, to a playoff series victory. Like, I'm still capable of doing that. You have to replace that. You have to get a center. I'm a little just like, they seem to always claw their way out of it, but I'm pretty nervous about the Lakers offseason, to be honest with you. I'm nervous about where it's going. I'm nervous about where it's headed. I'm nervous about what happens if they don't have an A-plus offseason. Like, what happens? Because Luka's going to be 28 at the time the playoffs come around next year. Like, it's go time. Like, the time is now. It can't be like pushing the can down the road a little bit more. Like, you have to get going, okay? Because if you don't, we're going to start asking the questions where it's like, Luka can leave in free agency somewhat soon if he wanted to. I know he just signed the extension, but it's going to be really interesting, man. It's going to be really interesting. And I had this conversation with Trill when he was on here. The new verb that I created, Nico'd. Who are some players that could possibly get Nico'd? Again, they would never do it for business stuff, but does a conversation even come up in the Lakers, front office, the key decision makers, where they're like, listen, we've sort of scoped out free agency, we've scoped out the trade market, and there's not a lot. Like, we're going to have to overpay big time for a guy that we're not that confident in. Like, our options right now are like, bring Reeves back at a very big number, overpay Peyton Watson, overpay Lou Dort, overpay Jalen Duren. Like, that's our options right now. Could there be some, the Orlando Magic, well, the Orlando Magic are a bad one because they've already traded everything. The Brooklyn Nets, they've got no reason to be bad next year. They just called us, and they're offering X, Y, and Z for Luka.
They just got 2 new assistant GMs too, right? Or not, they announced they're going to get Pelinka some GM help, right?
Yeah, they did. They have announced that, which I kind of took as like a soft Pelinka firing almost. Sounds a little harsh.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you.
Like, that seemed just like a, hey, Pelinka, we got 3 new guys. Pelinka's like, no, I don't need that. And they're like, yeah, you do. You do. and you're going to be sharing responsibilities with them.
You either get some friends in here to help you, or we'll just hire a friend to sit in your seat.
Yes, that's exactly it. And it's actually interesting. Like, will Rob Pelinka and this new squad look at, like, is winning the Rocket series, is that going to be something that's actually a bad thing long term for the Lakers, where they're like, look, we're actually like not that. If Luka was healthy, we had a puncher's chance. Maybe some of these games against the Thunder were kind of competitive. Like, JJ's a great coach. Like, let's just bring Rui back, $20 million. Let's bring Reeves back, $40 million. Like, all we need is a center. Like, is that going to be what happens? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. Again, they always seem to claw their way out of it. And with a guy like Luka, if you are in the playoffs and he's healthy, you have a puncher's chance against anybody. Sometimes that's all you can ask for. I don't know if it's possible for them to roster-wise match the Thunder or the Spurs in a summer, but can you at least give yourself a chance? I don't know. I think that's possible. Samir Kumar of Sports Illustrated recently dropped an article predicting the Nets to trade for Kyrie Irving. Nets received 9 overall. Kyrie Irving averaging 6 overall. Nick Claxton and Terrence Mann. Yeah, that's fucking disgusting. What? Why on earth would the Mavs do that? That is hideous. To move up 3 spots in the draft, give up Kyrie and take Nick Claxton, who's dreadfully bad, and Terrence Mann's horrible-ass contract. The Mavs should just move up from 6 and 9 for taking that dog shit, and honestly, dog shit Nick Claxton contract. What in the world? That is dreadful. No offense. But that's one of the worst mock trades I've ever seen. Yeah, and I actually don't even know why the Nets would do that. Actually, why wouldn't they? Actually, I don't know. Is that still weird with Kyrie and them?
It's gotta be.
I'm sure Kyrie would love that. Kyrie, listen, man. Thank you for everything you've done for the Mavericks. We're trading you back to Brooklyn. What? Yeah, sorry. Thank you for everything. You meant a lot to this franchise. You gave it your all. We're sending you back to Brooklyn, though. So, sorry.
We'll retire his number.
Yeah, we got you, dude. Don't worry. Hey, and if you want to come back after your contract... Hello? Kyrie? Oh, sorry. Kyrie would retire on the spot? Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Oh, man, this offseason is going to be good. I always say this a lot about some offseasons. And to be fair, I think last offseason was like, this one might not be that interesting. I think this one's going to be pretty fucking juicy. Because you always get the one guy that gets traded that you don't expect. Last year was Desmond Bane. You always get the one guy that you don't expect. At least one. Right? Who's that going to be? I don't know. Someone's getting Nico'd. I know that for sure. And then the Giannis stuff, it's annoying to talk about, but that's almost certainly going to happen. It feels like. Either way, the Bucks are going to be really interesting if they decide not to trade Giannis versus if Giannis decides to stay, what are they going to do? They're always a team that's ready to do some desperate shit no matter what. And the Lakers, dude. The Lakers are going to have a busy offseason. And it's going to be fun to see. It is. It's going to be fun to see how they're going to be, how they're going to maneuver through this. A lot is on the line. God, it feels like if we just went down a list of the NBA teams, it feels like they're all like half of them are in like a giant make or break offseason. If you factor in the draft, if you factor in free agency, it's a big one for the Mavs. It's a really, really big one for the Mavericks. It's not, I wouldn't say it's as consequential as the Lakers, really, but it's big. The draft is, at the very least. The Pistons, and Kofi's about to join us. The Pistons are going to have a massive offseason. The Cavs will have a massive offseason.
Where does Ja land?
Where does Ja Morant land? I saw a mock trade today from Bleacher Report that made my jaw drop. No pun intended. You guys like that? Made my jaw drop. Has anyone ever done that before?
Copyright trademark has just been put in.
Right. That's actually genius by me. But it made my jaw drop. Here's what it was. It was the Brooklyn Nets trading up from 6 to number 3 in the draft. From 6 to 3. So the Grizzlies trade out of number 3. Trade out of the top 4. The Nets trade up. Brooklyn gets number 3 and Ja Morant. The Grizzlies get number 6, Nick Claxton and Terrence Mann. That's the worst trade you'll ever see. And again, God bless the Bleacher Report guys. It's hard. It's hard doing mock drafts. It's hard doing like trades, fake trades. Everyone's going to get mad. But what on earth is that trade? What even is that? That one to me is just like, okay, sure. Yeah, everyone feels bad, I feel like, besides the Nets. trading out of the top 4 to get off of John Morant's contract is just, why? Why would I do that? At the very worst, here's the thing for the Grizzlies I don't think people are fully factoring into the equation here. Yeah, trading Jaren Jackson Jr., that's one thing. Trading Desmond Bane, that's one thing. Those guys had real value, obviously. But those guys aren't like really the, whatever. You trade those guys. The thing with John Morant, and I'm sure they would like to get off of John Morant, Ja's money, the whole John Morant thing. But think about this. He's at the very worst, great for the business side of things. That's just the truth. We got Kofi in here.
He is in the building. Say hello.
The one, the only Kofi joins us. Hello, sir. Uh-oh. Do we have audio problem?
I can't hear you.
He can't hear me. That's a great thing about Zoom.
I can't hear you.
We'll try to figure this out.
All right,
we're going to try to figure this out. The great thing about Zoom is it never works right away, ever. I don't think I've ever seen somebody come in via Zoom and be like, yeah, I hear everything perfectly fine. It's okay. We're going to try to get Kofi back on here as quickly as possible. Again, shout out to our friends at Zoom. This is brought to you by Zoom. Never once had an easy interaction on Zoom, ever. There's always something fucked up. So shout out to Zoom. Use code Slightly Biased, get 3% off. Code Slightly Biased on Zoom, 3% off. Great friends of the channel. Great friends of the show.
That still gets you the unmuting problems and all
right.
the same things you're used to. So
yeah, you're gonna have all the problems that everybody always has with Zoom, but at least it'll be 3% off, and that's code Slightly Biased. And you have to do it, right? Because it's what everyone uses. Zoom, it's what everyone uses. That's gonna be that should just be someone's catchphrase.
We have worked out the kinks.
Okay.
And by we, he has. Let's bring him on.
All right. Joining us now is the one, the only Kofi. Welcome in, brother.
Howdy, man.
You know what's crazy? I think this is our first time ever just chatting like this.
I think it is. Yeah, no, it is. Yo, this is exciting.
I was saying at the beginning of the show, last week I had Joe Jokic on right after the Nuggets lost, but it wasn't intentional. I was trying to have him on before the Nuggets lost. I had Trill on the day before, or the day after the Sixers lost Game 3, but I had already planned to have him on because I thought the Sixers were going to win the game. And the same thing here. I hit you up yesterday. I thought for sure the Pistons were going to win. And unfortunately, they didn't, and now they're down 3-2.
Dude, maybe it's you, dude.
Maybe it is.
Maybe.
Well, I always make fun of, I think Bill Simmons is the greatest of all time. One of the things I always make fun of him for, though, is he always brings his friends on that are fans of other teams after their team has had some devastating loss or some devastating trade, and then they come on for the first time in 6 months. So I always make fun of him for that, but I'm turning into that, it appears.
Oh, man. Look. I'm a huge fan, so it's just a pleasure just talking, sitting down with you.
So what, the Pistons, what are the vibes right now? I think this series is far from over, but it's hard to feel very good about it. And I'm rooting for you guys big time, by the way.
So it's pretty rough in terms of the fact where it's a lot of the Pistons fans, I'm seeing on Twitter, we're reviewing foul calls and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever you're in that realm, it's pretty bleak. And I'm more of the camp where it's control what you can control, but we're not doing that.
That's an interesting one. You're a big sports media junkie like myself. Just interested in how it all plays out, interested in the narratives. Have you noticed this, that the officiating has become more of a talking point than it's ever been?
Yeah, and I think it's the fact where it's I'm seeing people pull up basketball reference pages and being hey, this hasn't happened. This is an outlier. What's happening in the last 3 games is or the entire series has been an outlier. And what sucks is that, and it's not about the Pistons being the Pistons, we know we foul. Right. We know we foul. We led the league in it. It's about the fact that it's usually the disparity isn't that wide over a 3 games course or whatever. But that's the thing where I'm just sitting there being okay, we can do this all day, but we've been in every game. It's not I can point to other factors as well, and I would rather just sit with that and be okay, I'd rather talk about what we can do instead of dealing with Tony Brothers and whoever else is on the call and stuff like that. So that's where I'm kind of at with it, because I'm just I'm kind of disappointed in just how we've been playing.
You can say it, Jalen Duren.
It all starts with Jalen Duren, dude. And I wouldn't have a problem. I would have less of a problem if Jalen Duren was actually playing hard, but he's not. That's the more frustrating thing. The frustrating thing is that the Pistons have played like a mix of 11 people in the last 3 weeks. And I'm of the belief where it's like, okay, if you have a roster that has all these playable players, why are you giving so much leash in the playoffs to a player that's consistently just not there and checked out? And it's the most frustrating thing about this entire series, because again, we had like a 14, 15 point lead, I think, and then Jalen Duren comes in, 8-0 run instantly. It's one of those things where I'm like, this is not even, I don't even have to show the on-off data or like show the chart. It's like, it's like instant, like, and I was doing this with like Karis LeVert for 70 games. And so like, this is one of the things where it's like, yeah, whatever. But with Jalen Duren, it's like, okay, you were supposed to be our second guy. That's fine. We've pivoted. Tobias is our second scorer for the playoffs. Whatever. Fine. If you're still on the floor, you still have to provide something. And he's had games where he's like been more attentive, more alert in the defensive end. But then he has these last two where it's just like, dude, I would rather play Isaiah Stewart or Paul Reed without hesitation. And that's like a more frustrating part for me, I think.
I'm a big B-ball Paul believer. I have been. I think he's the best center on the team currently, just based off of the playoffs and what we've seen. I have a conspiracy that I'm working on a little bit. Not really a conspiracy, but yeah. I wonder how much of the Duren stuff is front office related, maybe, because they have a big decision with him, huge, massive extension decision where I'm sure JB's thought like, I can't start this guy anymore. I can't give him 25 minutes, but that's going to look so bad when you go into a summer where maybe we either have to max this guy or sign and trade him. And if he just came off of a postseason where he's getting benched or he's not starting anymore, what am I supposed to give? But I don't know how in Game 6 you could start Duren. That's just kind of where I'm at. And if he is, I'm going to start to think there's some like front office political stance where there's just the front office politics come into play.
That's totally fair. And Trajan Langdon's been on record being like, the reason why he was so like really not a big pusher of the trade deadline was like, I want to see how the young guys play.
Yeah.
And I really think that that's kind of a reinforcement of that being like, I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Duren starts, because that's just what Bickerstaff does. He's gonna start his five, and the only time he's not gonna like switch things up is because of injury or whatnot. So I think after Game 4, JB Bickerstaff was like, we still want Duren to play and hopefully gets his confidence back or whatnot. And this keeps on backfiring, and it comes at the cost of the series and the season being in jeopardy, which is like kind of wild for me to be like, okay, you're willing to risk the entire series and a potential chance at the Eastern Conference Finals for your all-star centers getting his mojo back. I don't know. It's just weird to me. And it's something where I'm like, every time Paul Reed comes into the game this series, good things have happened. The same was for Isaiah Stewart last series against the Magic. Now he's cooled off a little bit in this series, but yesterday he hit 2 threes, and we're like, dude, I think stretch bigs or even like an illusion of a stretch big in this series would mean so much, but we're not doing that. We're not trying other things. And that's like the frustrating part about it. And I do think that there's going to be I think during the contract negotiations and whatnot, you're going to have to post his postseason stats and be like, hey, what is this?
Yeah.
And it's not like it's your first. I mean, you had a playoff series last year, right? It's not like this is your first time in the playoffs or whatnot. It's a drop that's really bizarre. If you came and talked to me and was like, who is the player you're most worried about going into the playoffs? Jalen Duren, I don't think cracks my top 5, because he was that like reliable in terms of the fact where it's like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of self-creation there, but either way, through the offensive rebounding and being able to have like the great touch around the rim for someone of his strength, I wasn't worried about Jalen Duren.
Right.
It's really bizarre.
Yeah, I mean I think it's kind of what job security gives you too, because this something similar happened to the Thunder a couple years ago, where it was just like we knew what their weakness was. It was Josh Giddey in a playoff series is going to get played off the floor, but they didn't do anything at the trade deadline. They were like, yeah, these are our young guys. We're going to let them rock. They started Josh Giddey every game. The Mavericks said, we are not even going to think about guarding you, and it pretty much lost in the series. They also didn't have any size, but yeah, when as fans, because we want the instant gratification, we just want, like, we want to win. We smell it. We can sense it. But these front offices are like, yeah, but long term, this is more for the betterment of it. The problem is Duren's playing so poorly that I just feel like confidence-wise, man alive, that's a tough one to bounce back from, especially if you're going from 40+ million potentially to, I don't even know now what I'd feel comfortable paying him.
Probably be like 30. I think 30 would be the max.
Even that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest with you.
And it's the thing where it's like, I've seen a couple of plays where you can just feel like, so there's a Detroit Pistons watch bar in Los Angeles. And we all gathered yesterday. The moment he missed that first layup, the entire bar just lets out like a groan. Because the thing is that it's frustrating because we've seen, it'd be different if we didn't see glimpses of what he can do throughout the entire season. Now, I know that it's the playoffs, it's like different like level of competition or whatnot, but it's not like your strength goes away. Like he's still the strongest person on the court, right? There was a play yesterday where he had like the dope spin move on Mobley and then just threw it down. And I'm like, okay, where has that been?
Do you think there's like a problem with guys like Duren and Ayton where they just look like Greek gods? So when they're not playing up to a certain level, it's like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you? Look at how you look.
It's one of the things where I'm like, hey, I don't know. There's I forget what game it was, but Jay Bickerstaff literally looks at Jalen Duren and is like, yo, there's no way Donovan Mitchell should get a rebound over you ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
B-Ball Paul would never allow that.
B-Ball Paul would never, right? It's one of the things where I'm just like, again, Jalen Duren's motor, I never questioned it. I always questioned it, like the defensive ability in terms of the awareness, but not like, oh, he's not trying as hard as he could. This is like effort stuff where I'm just like, bro, the Cavs only have two bigs in terms of Mobley and Allen, right? Then it goes to like Thomas Bryant. You're not trying to get them in foul trouble.
Right.
Like that was game one. We got Jared Allen in foul trouble. Only played like 18 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the things where I'm just like, dude, it's frustrating, bro.
It is frustrating. And have you seen, can we show this on the screen? Have you seen the Detroit Pistons fan who is waterboarding himself?
Oh yeah, he turned the series around last year.
He turned last series around and he returned with another waterboarding video.
Oh my goodness.
So he's back and we'll see. Honestly, if this works and the Pistons come back and win this series, this guy, I'm not sure how the team could possibly brand this in a way that's positive, but the team needs to get involved. Maybe they set up some black site type of arrangement underneath the stadium. Little Caesar.
They'll send him a towel. They'll send him a logo towel.
That would be fantastic. This stuff right here is why the playoffs are so incredible. And as a Mavs fan, obviously I love when the team's in it, but it is fun when your team's not in it just to watch and you can just see the games and you're not like super invested and you can just enjoy it. But this is the shit right here that's just, all out on the line. I'm gonna waterboard myself in my shower.
Oh my god, dude. I can't believe he's doing that again. It shouldn't get there. It shouldn't get to this point.
Now we're gonna see, because a lot of these things are typically one-time use.
Yeah.
Like you can't circle back twice on waterboarding yourself.
You can't redo the gimmick.
Maybe a different method of torture would have worked this time around. That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
I didn't want to torture you the entire time about the Pistons because, again, I thought they were going to win.
That's all good.
I want to talk about something else. You make incredible videos. I'm sure most people in the chat are aware of you. If not, they need to go check out your YouTube channel immediately. Is it just Kofi on? What's your YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's just you can type in just Kofi.
Kofi, and then there's more Kofi.
Yeah, I got two. You got two channels.
But I watched your video about the 2003 draft lottery.
Yeah.
And it was so funny to go back and look at it. It's kind of interesting because, again, I like that you're a big sports media nerd and junkie because I am as well. I really care about the way they present these things. I really think about how they can make these things better. It's kind of crazy how the draft lottery coverage has not changed much at all in 20 plus years. That was kind of my takeaway.
I like that there's a whole show for it. You know, I like that there's build up, and I like that at least it gives teams that have lost for about 7 or 8 months like a glimmer of hope, right? You know, I've been on one end where like the Pistons won the number 1 pick and got Cade. I've been at the other end where it's like the Pistons lost a top 8 protected pick and no one cared.
Yeah.
Right. So that's like it's one of the funniest days of the year.
I think
honestly,
so too.
Because then after, like right after the lottery, it's just like another playoff game. So you got to like sit through what just happened, and then you got to watch like the good teams be good. Like,
yeah, you brought that up in the video. That is funny that how they do that, where it's just like the trash teams. Here you guys go. Please stay invested in the NBA. We have a playoff game coming right after this, and then it's like impossible to watch the game after because you're just sitting there with, especially if your team was in it like this. And once you mentioned this because it was 2003. Obviously, it was the LeBron lottery, and it was so interesting how it was just like you forget just how the LeBron hype was like. This guy is going 101. This guy, and you touched on this, but this was the stuff that they were saying. Like this guy would have gone 101 as a junior in high school if he was eligible to get drafted. Like that's how insane the LeBron hype was. And it is crazy watching just like the camera panned all these teams because you talk yourself into it. Even if you have a 0.5% chance, it's like, dude, I'm kind of feeling like, this might be our moment. And they panned all these teams, and it's just the joy leaving their eyes it is great television.
It's just so funny how they were like, this is the most hyped prospect. Jay Billis is like right on the money. He's like right on the money being like, oh, hey, this is the most hyped prospect I've ever seen. And he's going to be like one of the greatest players of all time. And he's like right on the money.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the underappreciated thing about LeBron is like the fact that he even not just lived up to, but exceeded probably the expectations for him is insane considering where it was at. Like LeBron could have had a Hall of Fame career and massively underperformed his expectations. That's how high they were. That's like a part that I think was underappreciated in the whole LeBron thing. But the one thing that I thought they should circle back to this and do stuff like this was the big story was Jerry West and the Memphis Grizzlies. He was with the Grizzlies at the time or there. And the pick was top 1 protected, wasn't it?
Yeah, which I have never heard of another deal like that.
Just so you know, the Mavericks, so the Hornets a top 2 protected pick next year. So
top 2 protected, yeah. But top 1 protected, I was like, dang, I can't think of the last other top 1 protected. I feel like that's just like a wild one. Like I've heard top 3 protected, top 2 protected, all of that, but like top 1 protected is kind of crazy.
What made it so great is they got the second pick, which went to the Pistons. But they are on the broadcast has them. They're within the top 2, and I wish they would do this now. The one thing is they go and interview them before, like it's when they find out who's in the top. At this time, it was the top 3, right? They found out okay, who's in the top 3. We know it now. We're going to go to an ad break or whatever before we do the top 3. But let's interview Jerry West first before we reveal this. They need to bring that back 100%.
Dude, that was so mean.
I know.
Like Mike Tirico is just like, hey, so you're getting a little closer here. How you feel? I was like, what are you doing?
It's kind of crazy in hindsight. Like the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron's hometown team, having number 1 pick felt like a secondary story to this Grizzlies story. Like that was like the thing on the broadcast was like, and the Grizzlies he went and talked to a goat, and now they're fucked, and the Grizzlies will not be relevant for another probably 12 or so years.
And the crazy thing is that it's for a trade that Jerry West didn't even make.
Yeah.
Like some other guy made that trade that ended up getting the pick that they lost, right? For Otis Thorpe, who and it was fun going into the newspaper archives about this and being like, how was Otis Thorpe's time in Vancouver? And it was like, he didn't want to be there because Vancouver was just that bad. It was just, so seeing that just like come back to bite someone that didn't even make the decision. And the thing is that if it's top 3 protected, Jerry West, I think, nails that draft pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he didn't want Darko. Mm-hmm. He wasn't interested. He was like, there's a thing where it was like, people thought that Jerry West was like, I think there's a Windhorst he did like an oral history of the draft, and everyone was like, yeah, Jerry West was the only one that was like never really remotely interested in Darko whatsoever. And I feel like Jerry West maybe takes like maybe he takes Dwayne Wade. I think that he definitely, because he was interested in like a guard of star. And again, Jerry West, like one of the best evaluators of talent ever, So that's just so wild that they just lost it. And then Detroit smoked the pick.
God, dude, I know they did. And that was interesting. I honestly didn't even realize that. It's something I've never really looked much into, that the Pistons, it was just like a stroke of luck that he was working out right next to the Pistons. Darko was, and then they just walked in on it. And who knows what happens if that workout's not happening?
Dude, it's Dumars' worst work.
Well, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's his, that pick was so bad that it changed his entire evaluation, because he's like I went off of like 2 sources, and I was like, what?
That pick's so bad. You said this in the video. That pick's so bad it might have won them the finals. Funny enough.
That's what I often think, that if Darko like at least even like shows a little bit of promise, they don't trade for Rasheed Wallace. I don't know. There's a part of me where I'm like, you can't really. I'm not gonna ever be able to prove this, but I'm like, dude, that's the greatest midseason trade of all time. If Darko even like remotely works out, and I also think that if Larry Brown doesn't actively want Darko to play a different play style, because Larry Brown also joined the team like in that theory where it's like they drafted Darko, then Larry Brown, like there's a coaching change and all of that as well. It's just a fascinating like turn of events for sure.
That's what makes all of this so fun. It's so fun going back and looking at those things, because like small decisions here and there just like dramatically change the course of history for, because there's no way when the Grizzlies make that trade for Otis Thorpe, they're like, this pick might turn into Dwayne Wade. And we don't even know. At that point in time, you didn't even know really who Dwayne Wade was, because he was like a really late riser in the draft. If you could, going back and look at this stuff, because I always think about this, I feel like the lottery process on TV could be a million times better. Do you watch the hockey lottery?
They do the live drawing in front of it. I like when the ping pong balls are like in front of you. I don't like this. Oh, we did this in the back room, and they were 2 witnesses of the. I'm like, no.
The thing I love about hockey is they'll draw the ball, and then they'll have the odds, how they shift based off of what number got drawn. It was like, okay, because we drew a 5 first, the Lightning now have a 40% chance, and you see everyone's odds go up and down. That was electric. I had it on the screen. It was the first time I ever watched it this year. I was like, this is electric television. So and if you can combine this with having the GMs, or, I was listening to Bill Simmons' podcast yesterday, and they suggested super fans. I don't know how I feel about the GMs or the super fans, because it is fun having the GMs there, but they're so stoic, because they know they're not going to sit. They can't sit there and be like, fuck, we didn't get this pick I want. Now I'm going to have to draft Braden Burries. Like, you're not going to do that as a GM. But
no. And then players don't really give the emotion that they want. So I'm usually between like sometimes an owner will be like a great draft lottery thing. Yeah. Like
owner,
honestly.
or like someone tied to like an owner's kid or something, where it's like, I'm inheriting this team in about 6 years, so I would like for this pick to be good whenever I'm in charge. I like the idea of a super fan. But I could see that turning into a complete shit show. Like, the idea of super fans is always fun until someone's raging on the stage because they got the 7th pick instead of, the 5th.
Yeah, like they don't know how to behave or whatnot.
Imagine a Kings super fan in this draft lottery.
Oh, dude, did you see King Charge?
Yeah.
Dude, his reaction on stream. I felt so bad, dude.
I do too. Like, I have a guilty pleasure of mine where when bad things happen to teams, I go to their subreddit, just because it is just kind of like a fun little like, let's see the vibes. The Kings one was like, I just feel horribly bad. I really do.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
Just because like they do deserve something. I don't like doing the draft lottery karma things, because I'm like, this is stupid. Who deserves what? Who's to say?
Yeah.
The Kings though.
People were mad at the Wizards for winning, and I'm like, bro, have you watched the Wizards? Like this is they've been owed this. They were owed this 8 years ago.
Yes, the Wizards are long overdue. Have you seen? Okay, there is an interesting conspiracy where and I don't believe the draft lottery is rigged whatsoever, right? But the Mavs and Spurs being 1 and 2 last year, all right, that gets people's alarm bells going a little bit. But did you see that Last year it was the Jazz and the Wizards who got taken out of the top 4 for the Spurs and the Mavs. And this year they get the top 2 picks.
Dude,
that's kind of crazy.
That's like what the lottery's supposed to be, though.
Yeah. I just thought that was a funny coincidence.
It's funny. It's always funny when the Pistons were in the lottery, and like you'd be like Pistons, Wizards, even the Rockets were there for a little bit, and like it'd be all of us just being like, okay, we're gonna talk about this number 1 pick, but we all know we're like getting the 6th pick, right?
Yeah.
Everyone we're like Pistons got the 5th pick 3 years in a row, and we were just like, yeah, I don't know why we're even thinking about Wembanyama. They're not gonna give us this number 1 pick again.
Dude, yeah, there was a crazy stretch with the number 1 pick where they dropped every single year, basically. And it's going to get worse.
Oh, yeah, no, the flattening of whatever the odds are, I was like, no, this is horrendous, bro.
I actually thought the idea of the relegation zone was something that I actually thought was kind of understandable, right? But I don't think it's going to work in practice. I think you're going to have teams that have bad years for one reason or another, and they're injured, and now they're just like, well, we get the 12th pick now in this draft? Like, how am I supposed to be better? And
like, there's a whole couple of things I'm not going to be surprised with. I'm like, okay, let's see if these new rules are like, well, now you're going to be like, why are injuries up? Because now you're playing players that probably should have sat. Yeah. If you want to avoid the top, like, I'm like, it's just going to be a mess. I think it just causes a new set of problems.
My favorite solution that had been floated. I mean, I'm a big. If you think tanking's that bad, you need to just get rid of the draft guy because it's just always going to be there no matter what rules you put in. Some teams will always bend the rules to try and get the best odds possible. But I like the idea of the new professional women's hockey league does this. And it's really interesting where once your team's eliminated from the playoffs, every game you win from then on out is a point. And the team with the most points at the end is the number 1 pick.
I don't hate that.
So there is some incentive, I guess, to lose early in the year. But then it's like, okay, we need to win games.
Yeah. And some teams are just not equipped to win games regardless.
Yeah. No, so there's always going to be bad teams.
So like, yeah.
Even in the leagues where teams are, where there's no tanking, right? Like the Rockies will lose 110 games. Like,
yeah, they're going to do that on purpose.
Yeah, there's no incentive to do that really in baseball, but sometimes you're just bad. Well, all right, let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Kofi. You can find me on all of my other platforms, Instagram, Kofi Yaboa. You can find me on TikTok at Kofi Y, and basically Kofi Y on like every other platform.
Offside too, guys.
Oh yeah, offside,
guys. Here,
offside. Better download that beta.
You better. Hey, seriously, though, go check out. He makes incredible videos. I really enjoy all of your stuff. It's fantastic stuff.
Dude, I appreciate it. Huge fan, bro.
Well, thanks for coming on. I'm rooting for the Pistons. I really am. I got a lot of love in my heart for them.
I hope.
All right, next time you're on, it'll be under better circumstances for the Pistons. I'm manifesting it.
Heck yeah.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
All right, later.
That was the one, the only Kofi, ladies and gentlemen. Incredible stuff. Again, seriously, fantastic YouTube channel. I highly recommend you guys go check it out. Again, I feel bad because the Pistons lost. And now we are joined by friend of the channel, legend on the basketball court in the Slightly Unblockables Final Four tournament run that we went on 2 summers ago. Geez, that was 2 years ago?
That's crazy.
That's honestly,
it was 2 years ago.
Was
that not last summer?
No, it was not. That was 2 summers ago. I had a broken ankle all last summer.
Dang, that's crazy that it was that long ago.
That really is.
Our run was cut short. It was cut too short.
Our run was cut short. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we played the Mavs Twitter tournament, basketball tournament, 3-on-3. It was me, B-Dot, Noah, and Tim Cato. And we made it to the Final Four. And the problem is we were playing one-on-one on the other end of the court in between games. And it was like 85 degrees in the gym.
3 dribble one-on-one.
Yes, 3 dribble one-on-one. On the other end of the floor, it was 85 degrees in this South Oak Cliff gym. And we were gassed by the end of it. But you're at the draft combine. How is that? Is this your first? Have you been in the draft combine before? Or?
No, this is my first time out here, and it's been super fun. It's been great. I mean, I'm getting a great look at potential targets for Dallas at 9, 30, 46. I mean, I've been watching when it comes to the testing day, I was mostly focused on the potential Mavs targets. Like there was a group of like 8 guys, and it was all the best guards. I don't know if I can rattle them all off, but like Isaiah Evans, Keaton Wagler, Darius Acuff, Braden Burries, Michael Brown. They were all in the same group. But that first tier of guards, they all worked out together. So I kept a pretty close eye on all of them. Kingston Flemings, they were all working out. So that was great watching them all together, and it's been just great network, great seeing a whole lot of people who cover the league, and it's like a little family reunion with these type of things.
Are there some like talks, some rumblings? Like who are some like the big, like, oh my God, you guys see that guy's agility drill? Who are the big draft risers right now?
Yeah, so Cam Carr was unreal in his scrimmage yesterday from Baylor. He had like I think made at least 6 threes, and then in the second half towards the end, he took off from like maybe 3/4 between the free throw line and the basket, maybe halfway, and just threw it on a two-handed. Like he's free. I'm pretty sure he's one of the leaders for vertical, and I think Cam Ford is easily one of the best riser, easy first-round pick for him. Emmanuel Sharp, when it comes to a second-round guy from Houston, he's been excellent. I mean, he's just the definition of 3-and-D. He works hard. I've been really impressed with him. And then those are definitely, when it comes to the scrimmages, those two really stood out yesterday.
Talk to me a little bit about Mikel Brown Jr., because he's somebody who is somewhat feasible at 9 for the Mavericks. Some teams would have to, probably go a Damara or maybe a wing or something for one of these guards to drop. But this is like the Mavs, I would say, fandom's consensus, like big-time crush is Mikel Brown. He had the weird back things. Has there been any talk about that at all? Any like whispers?
What he said publicly is just that his back is completely fine. I think medical testing is later this week, so we should hear a little bit more on that front later this week. But he told reporters that his back is completely fine, and I mean, he was definitely impressive. He's a freak athlete. I'd have to go look back at the numbers. I don't think he shot it as well as I would have expected, but I mean, you saw Louisville. He's a high volume point shooter. He's excellent. He can do everything. Like I don't think he'll be there at 9 personally.
I don't either, because there's a real size component with him. Like you can kind of tell he measured well. And some of these other guys, Kingston Flemings is such an interesting one to me because his measurements were underwhelming, to put it lightly, right?
Yeah, I think it was 6'2.5".
It's not that. It's the 6'2" wingspan as well.
Yeah. I think it was maybe 6'3.5", maybe for the wingspan. He still has a plus wingspan, but going into it, it's like, okay, this guy was lengthy. Like he's gonna be a great defender who can guard up at the next level. And then you see the measurements, and they were a little disappointed because that was the whole thing about him, is that he was lengthy. And I don't really think that's the case for his measurements, but he's a guy. Like I think Kingston Flemings is very good.
Yeah, I'm with you too, because then the thing is, he athletically was one of the best athletes in all of these drills, which I think is why, it's one of those things where it's like Kingston Flemings, yeah, his wingspan's bad, but guess what? He was incredible defensively, and that's why it feels like he was longer than he was. Where Acuff, 6'7" wingspan, I'm not gonna lie, I saw that, I was like, damn. Like that, I thought he was gonna be like a little baby out there, but then it's like, but why did you look like a little baby on defense at times? And that's, I think, where like some of the measurements not stacking up to the eye test comes in. I just don't know how much do these measurements, how much does it change things? That's what I always wonder.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, you got to get out on the basketball court and play.
Right.
Like these measurements can only mean one thing. It's just like the NFL draft when it comes to like hand size and all of that stuff. Like if you can ball, you can ball. That's kind of how I think about it. I mean, they matter. Like positional size at the NBA level definitely matters. And that's something that teams think about. Like you want a 6'5" guy who can do all the same things rather than like a 6'2" guy. But also like if you can hoop, you can hoop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you. And again, that's where like just trust the eye test, trust what the numbers say. A guy might be small, but hey, you know what? He's making it happen on the court. Talk to me a little bit about Braden Burries, because that's another one Mavs fans are just head over heels about.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I think I was looking at it the other day, and maybe the Ringers mock draft had him at 5. I was like, whoa.
Burries.
to the Clippers.
Wow.
Be sure. That's pretty sure that's the same mock draft that had Burries at 5 and Wagler falling to 9 to Dallas. So I mean Braden Burries is I think he's going to be a high level combo guard at the next level, and I think that's an interesting one too, because when you're thinking about Dallas next year, like they got the number 1 pick, but they're forced into a very quick rebuild. This
Right.
isn't like a long term rebuild. This is like a retool. And someone like Braden Burries, I think he's someone who would play off ball next to Kyrie right away, and that would be something that could work. And then maybe if he learned from Kai, he can develop into being number 1 guy. Because if you're taking someone in the top 10 like that, you want them to be a future star. Like hopefully you're shooting for that. Of course, being a role player at first is completely fine. Like Dallas at 12 a couple years ago, Derek Black, like when he's on the floor, elite role player. Thunder that year, Casey Wallace at 10, elite role player. Like they might not be stars, but they're NBA starters. And I think Braden Burry, like he compared his game, I'm pretty sure, to Devin Booker and Jamal Murray. Those were his two. Like if he could be either one of those,
I saw Kingston.
Absolutely.
Kingston compared himself to Cason Wallace. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it was. So I was in there and I tweeted something out about it. It was like, because he said, I want to be like Cason Wallace when I'm in the NBA. That's what he said. And I mean, people were in my mentions, oh, like Nets don't think about him anymore, blah, blah, blah. Like this is a bad thing. And I went ahead and I put the full quote up there. I'll go ahead and I'll pull it up and read it for you. Because yeah, I have people in my mentions like acting like Cason Wallace is a top 100, top 75 player in the NBA. I was like, you gotta be kidding. Like, why is this guy getting knocked for comparing himself to Cason? So pretty much what he was asked, he was like, is there a role player in the NBA playoffs that, here's the full quote. Yeah, he was asked a role player that he's enjoyed watching during the NBA playoffs. He said, Cason Wallace. I remember me and my dad used to go to games and he would tell me to watch Cason Wallace play when he was on Richardson. He's played with Ryland Griffin. He was playing against Keontae George. I mean, he's a problem, and he's definitely one of the reasons OKC is so great. I mean, when you go to a team as stacked as OKC, you can't always show your offensive capabilities. But when you go out there, everyone has a job to do. And that's exactly when I go to the NBA, I want to be like Cason Wallace. So that's what I heard. So I put it out there that what I said is Kingston Fleming said that he wants to be like Cason Wallace when he was in the NBA. Said he grew up going to Richardson games and his dad would come to watch Wallace play with him. I'm bouncing from presser to presser, trying to talk to all these guys, gauge if they think it would fit, all that stuff. And then Kingston later said, any team I go to, if they need me to do that, I'm going to do what they need me to do. So definitely a role player like Cason Wallace. I think, and then in a different interview, maybe he compared himself to Fox, but like, Cason Wallace is incredible. Like, he's a 7th guy in KD. He would start on most teams in the game. Like, he is so dang good. He's so good.
I think that's an incredible answer. And by the way, I think that's actually a great question to ask these guys, especially the guys maybe outside the top 4. Is just like, hey, who's your favorite role player? Because we know all of these guys. Obviously, you want them to have the irrational confidence coming into the league of like, I can be the best player on any team that drafts me. You want that. That's part of being an athlete, a professional athlete. Obviously, you and I know that as Mavs Twitter tournament members. We were having back and forth all the time. Who's the best player on the team? But no. You want that because the reality is most of these guys are not going to be the best players on their team. So how do you plan on impacting the game, So I think that's a great question to ask these guys. It's just like, compare yourself to a role player in the league today. And yeah, if Cason Wallace is, you're coming into it and you're like, I'm going to get after it defensively like Cason Wallace and whatever I have to do offensively, that's all I need to hear. I'm signed in. I'm bought in. I'm a big Kingston Flemings guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's really good. He's a good kid. He has a good personality. And when you look at these University of Houston guys, they're all so high character. They're all so cool. Like, I've gotten to chop it up with a couple of them, like Uzan and Emmanuel Sharp. I was talking with both of them, just both really good guys. That stuff matters. Like, that's something that I think the Mavericks, one thing they're definitely prioritizing is they want culture guys around Cooper, because Cooper is a great culture guy. Like, every player that they bring in, I think they want to complement for on and off the court. Like, fit is so very important on and off the court. And all of these Houston guys under Coach Sampson, like, they're so high character. They all play as hard as anyone. Like we just saw with Jamal Shed. Like,
yeah,
he plays they all guard like crazy. Like that is ingrained into memory at Houston. Like you are going to defend and you are going to play as hard as you possibly can for 40 minutes a game. And I think that's what Kingston Flemings is. And I mean, he was just a freshman and now like he was their leading scorer and he's a low volume point shooter there at Houston. He comes out here and he is the leader for the star drill. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Come on, like
the shooting was encouraging. I don't even know what to take from these drills. The idea of the shooting drills is just hilarious to me, where it's like, well, this guy only shot 40% on the star drill. It's like, okay, well, I don't know what to do with that information. But have you gotten a chance to be close to a day, Mara?
yes, I did. Not actually. I think I did pass him when he's standing up. He's huge.
Yeah, 7'2" is just barefoot.
7'3" barefoot.
7'3" barefoot. Jesus, with a 9'9" standing reach. There's some people who are just like, yeah, if he's there at 9, just take him, and then whatever happens with the bigs happens with the bigs. But he's an interesting one because some team will fall in love with him, I have to imagine, and he'll go in the top 8 would be my guess.
Yeah, I think he's a definite top 10 pick. And I was writing something the other day. It's kind of what we briefly mentioned earlier is how Dallas is, they're kind of, if they want to guard, they kind of need to cross their fingers that someone like Yaxel, Nademet, or Mara pops into that top 8. So that guarantees that one of the guards is going to fall. I was doing some research and I looked up Victor Wembanyama's barefoot height. And I don't think he measured at the combine. I don't remember the exact detail. But when he got to San Antonio, the rookie, they measured him barefoot. And he's probably grown since then. But he was 7'3.5" barefoot. That's half an inch taller than Mara. Like, Mara 7'3" barefoot, like people don't understand how crazy that is because people, you know how it is, boost height, especially with shoes. Some of those guys get an extra inch, some of them get 2. So if he's 7'3" barefoot, he's going to be listed at 7'4" in the NBA, 7'5". Like that's elite size. He's going to go somewhere in that top 10. I mean, Dallas does have a question I think to think about if he's sitting there at 9 and with size like that, like. You can't teach that. And I mean, a center combo of the future of Derek Lively and Mara, if they can stay healthy, is excellent. And Mara, I think, would immediately become your starting big man of the future. Derek Lively has played less than 100 games through 3 seasons. I think maybe a roll off the bench might be a little bit more fitting for him, a little less wear and tear. And with him not being very durable, if he were to go down, you already have your starting big man there. And then maybe if they re-sign Musa or if they bring back Bagley, something like that. But I mean, Mara's elite.
Yeah.
I like his game a lot.
Yeah, he's an interesting one, and it is. I mean, you made a great point where the Mavs aren't in some, if they got thrusted into the top 4, it's a different conversation, but they are in some sort of like, we need to somewhat be good right now, right? Like, so I think everything's on the table. I hope they don't back themselves into a corner with a guard where they feel like they have to take it, and nothing in Masai's draft history leads me to believe that. Have you had Masai and Schmitz are there? Have you had a chance to talk to them at all, or?
I didn't go to Masai media avail. I mean, in past, say hello to Mike. I got to meet him for the first time at the lottery. He's a really nice guy. I think he's going to create a job. He's always been here to talk to people. He's definitely been a presence all week long. And Rick Hardy and Finley have been here. I haven't seen Masai, the actual comp. I'm sure he's here. I'm sure he's just sitting on the other side of the gym. But definitely a large group of Mavs personnel been here all week.
How does the draft lottery work from a media perspective? Is it just like a free for all? You just roam around on the court, and then it's like, hey, AJ's about to do his vertical leap, and then there's like, I'm imagining it like the Masters, where it's like everyone just follows Tiger. It's like, all right, we need to go see AJ's vertical leap, everybody.
Yeah. So really how they do it is they have a schedule like pods. It's like that I told you first, all the elite guards, that was a pod. And then in Bonsa's pod, it was like Bonsa, Caleb Wilson. I didn't really pay attention to that because I was honed in on the math guys. And so they start, they do standing vertical, like step vertical, and then they do the maximum vertical where they get a little running start. They do like the shuttle and all that stuff, the one where they do the box. Not sure what those are called, but they do a couple of those lateral movement drills. They'll go to the other side of the gym and do the 3/4 court sprint. And then they do the shooting drills. So you can kind of watch all of them at once. Like I knew they were all doing vertical. I sat like right there, so I could watch no step and I could watch maximum. And then when they started doing shooting drills, I went to the far end because there's 2 goals there, and then beyond those 2 goals is the big court. But there's another goal, so I could watch 3 of the 4 hoops that they were shooting on. Them do the shooting drills. That's kind of how it works. But actually, I assume a lot of people are around for AJ just because he's a freak athlete. And I got a stat for you. Let me find it real quick. It when it comes to Kingston Flemings, it was either Flemings or Burries in the vertical. I'm gonna have to scroll back a lot on Twitter because I've posted a lot of stuff on it.
Yeah, I've loved the information leak from the combine. It's just
I'm glad you like it.
We gotta know these numbers, man. Make or break for some of these guys.
So Kingston and Michael, they posted the same no step vertical as AJ DeBonsa. All 3 of them had 33.5. Like that, I mean, that tells you something. All of them are definitely elite athletes. And Braden Burries posted a higher no step vertical than Caleb Wilson and DeBonsa. No step, Braden Burries was 35 inches. Like that's really impressive. And even Wagler all year long, people are saying that he's not athletic. He posted a 33-inch no step vertical. That's only half an inch less than Michael and Kingston. So I think that's telling too. But once again, it's all about these guys.
God, this guard group is so interesting. It's so interesting. A lot of pros and cons. You've been enjoying Chicago's been treating you good?
Yeah, it's definitely been fun. I mean, this is probably, I was thinking about it. I might like because I really like Summer League in Vegas too, but this is another thing that I've really enjoyed. Like definitely want to be back next year. I'd have to see what picks Dallas even has, a second or something, but regardless, I mean, it's so much fun to just watch and get to meet, kind of interact with these guys up close and get to know their personalities a little bit because you get a lot of access. Like I could go sit front row for this scrimmage right now, and I mean, anyone that's interested want to talk to is in the stands. So it's definitely been a great experience, and I like the city.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Well, let the people know where they can find you. I appreciate you taking your time to come in here.
Yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun. So you can find me on Twitter at BoWeber00, and there's 1B in Weber. And then all of my written content is on thesmokecuban.com. Me personally, I publish at least 60 articles every single month. So that's a couple a day, and it's entirely Mavericks focused. So I mean, if there's Mavericks news, if there's an opinion out there, I cover pretty much every single angle that could be possibly thought about the Mavericks. And I've definitely did a lot of work here at the Combine. So you can just keep up with my stuff there. I cover all things Mavs. So yeah, definitely plug in with me. You won't be disappointed.
I want to give Noah some flowers for his hard work. When we were at the Mavs Twitter tournament, he was going up to the lobby in between games to hammer out an article. I can attest to this work ethic. This was also in the middle of August where there was just like nothing happening at all. I kept thinking, I was like, what could you possibly be writing about, bro?
Yeah, that's what sometimes I think about too. But yeah, we got to grind it out. Because here's what I think too, because a lot of my stuff is opinionated, and this can be true about anything. If you have an opinion about the Mavericks, or if there's a thought you have about the team, someone else has it too. And there's fans that just want to engage and read your stuff. So I'm super grateful for what I get to do. It's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, that's honestly a great way to look at it, and you're 100% correct. Well, again, thank you for taking your time out of the day to hop on here. It's good talking to you, bro. Enjoy Chicago. Enjoy the rest of the Combine, and I'll talk to you later, man.
Yeah, man, let's do it. Appreciate you for having me.
We got a hoop soon, too.
Let's do it. Let's run it back.
Let's do it. All right, Noah Weber, everybody. Thank you for joining the show, brother. Man, I'm just so these guards, this draft. It's exciting. It's enticing. I got to tell you guys. I'm 6 weeks. Is that how long we have to discuss this and go over it? We're going to do that a bunch. I'm just so at a loss with this guard group. I just have to be honest with you. Everybody that everyone's excited about, I don't like. Everyone that nobody's excited about, I like. Which guard of the premier groups So excluding Burries is most likely to fall to the Mavs. My question is, this far in advance, I don't know how in tune with the consensus with these teams we actually are. Like, we have the consensus big boards. There's always risers and there's always fallers. Teams are always in love with the guys more than we know. You know, again, when we talk about like the analytics side of things and just understanding how much that goes into these decisions, that's the thing I've always said about Nate Amin. I cannot imagine the teams have Nate Amin high on their draft board. That feels almost like an ownership type of thing or something. Where it's like, we want the big KD clone. That's what we want. That guy's going to be KD. Like, that feels like something like your owner comes in who's only watched YouTube highlights and tells you. Because there's no way any draft model is like, yep, Nate Amin. No, we need to take him top 10. Right? So I don't know, man. All of these guys have their weaknesses and flaws. It's going to depend on what teams value. Like, if you're a team and you're like, we need defense, we don't want to have bad defenders. That's kind of how, like, I just have a hard time imagining the Clippers going in cuff because of that, right? Then you might get, like, a cuff might drop a little bit. That's on the table. If a team's like, hey, we're a little bit wary of, like, the athleticism questions, especially from the guard spot. We feel like guards need to be, better athletes, and then Wagler might drop. If the measurables are, hey, we need, like, 6'2" wingspan, then Kingston might drop. So it's interesting. And you got to, and the thing is, for the Mavs at 9, that's really interesting, is you look at all the teams ahead of you, and all of them could take guards. It's incredibly feasible. It's incredibly feasible. The Clippers go a guard to pair next to Darius Garland long term. That's 100% on the table. Then you have the Nets. Like, they need kind of face of the franchise guy. That's usually a guard. So that makes sense for them. Then you have the Kings. Same thing. That makes sense for them. The Hawks, they need a guard. CJ might be leaving. Right? They've got Okongwu. They've got Jalen Johnson. You never want to draft based off fit, but, they need a guard. So, it's interesting. The thing is Mikal Brown Jr. just screams Nets to me. I know that's the guy that people think has the likeliest chance to fall for the Mavs. Mikal Brown Jr. screams Brooklyn Nets. Screams it based off of everything that they've done in the draft recently, just based off of what Jordy Fernandez seems to like. That 3-point volume, the 3-point barraging, the size, the positional size at guard as well, it just screams like he might be a Brooklyn Net. It's just kind of how I feel currently. I think okay, let me ask you guys this. Why couldn't the Clippers take a Damara? I feel like I haven't seen that. Why could they not? YKN was great last year, but then had foot problems, so immediately he's on the foot problem. 7-footer with foot problems list. Too high at 5? I don't know, dude. I think it's on the table for sure. I don't think 4 guards going in a row is a disaster for Dallas. No, I mean, I agree. I am right now, as it stands, I am as pro trade down as you could possibly get in an effort to recoup future assets. I don't think there's much separating who would be there at 9 versus who would be there at 12. I don't think there's much separating them at all, even. In fact, I'd probably personally rate some of the guys who might go at 12 higher than whoever you might draft at 9. So that's sort of my thing on it. I keep seeing ideas about trading up. I'm so out on trading up. So out on it. I cannot emphasize enough how little I want the Mavericks to trade up, unless there's some, hey, we don't feel like there's much of a difference. A team ahead of you is like, we don't feel like there's much of a difference between the 6th pick and the 9th pick, and we want to get off this contract. And the Mavs have some like financial flexibility, so the Mavs are like, hey, we're willing to take that to move up 3 spots. That, to me, I could get behind, right? I could get behind that. Or maybe you like kind of similar to what they did in the 2023 draft. Was that right? 2024 draft. Similar to what they did there, where it was like, we're going to trade back and in doing so create some financial flexibility, and then we're going to use that financial flexibility to absorb a contract to get a pick in the 20s. Like, if you do some type of financial move that gives you an asset, and then you use that asset to trade up, that I can get with. I don't want you to tap into your already depleted assets to move up in the draft. That to me is where I'm just like out on entirely, right? The Nets deal, yeah. I mean, the Nets deal, what, the one that on Bleacher Report where it's Kyrie and 9 for 6 and Nick Claxton? That is sickening. That's horrible. If they were to do something like that, I need to be honest, I'm already out on Masai. If they do something like that, and I'm just dooming here, there's no way they would do that. That makes no fucking sense. Like, Kyrie by himself has more trade value than that. Like Kyrie by himself already has more trade value than that. Makes no sense at all. So this idea that, hey, maybe they use the 2029 Lakers, I don't like that at all either. I don't like that. Unless they, in their process, fall head over heels for somebody, and it's just like Mikael Brown Jr. That's it. That's the guy. We think he's a superstar. Okay? Again, I don't personally love it, but that's just where I'm at. And this is, when I'm talking like this, I'm talking like the dooming of trading up, meaning you're going to have to give up a bunch of picks in the future. That might not be the case. It might not cost that much. Kofi got re-upset after your interview. LOL, he just tweeted, bro, played Paul Reed for 17 minutes straight after not playing for 3 quarters. That is hilarious, dude. I never understood the JB Bickerstaff quote where he's like, Paul Reed's our energy guy. We like to bring him in randomly to surprise the other team. It's like, no, dude, he's your best center, bro. He's not the random energy guy. He's your best big. 14 for 9 and get our 27 pick back from Charlotte. 100% I'm doing that without even thinking about it. I trade down 5 spots and get my pick flexibility next year. 100% I'm doing that. And then you can get creative with it too, where it's like, okay, then can we move up from 14 to like, could we hit up the Bucks maybe at 10 and be like, hey, you guys want to move? You guys want to give us a contract to move down 4 spots? Motherfucker with blue eyes staring into the camera. Where am I supposed to look? You want me to just do the show like this? Sorry that it's threatening. Cam Carr, yeah, I mean, what? But like the thing with Cam Carr is like the Mavs are not drafting him at 9, so that could be a trade down thing. Thoughts on Wagler post combine? He didn't test bad athletically, despite what people were saying about his athleticism being his biggest weakness. Yeah, if Wagler's there at 9, I'm cool. Again, he's not a name where I'm like trade up for him. But if he's there at 9, that's fine. 27 first is not worth trading down 5 spots. See, I mean, if the draft goes a certain way, and there's some risk involved with doing like pre-draft trades, because you need to see how this board falls, obviously. If Yaxel and Mara go in the top 8, possible, right? If those 2 guys go in the top 8, then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, actually we have like a pick of the litter of these guards. So... But if all of the guards go and then you're staring down the barrel of like Burries, I think it's probably worth it to move down a little tiny bit to get some value. Yeah, and it depends on who you want. Then you could go Sturts, LeBaron might be there. Graves, like I'm gonna be real with you. I like all those guys more than Burries currently. There's a lot that can change between now and the draft. Because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is all I do now. I wake up in the morning, it's draft stuff. If I'm not doing it streaming, it's draft stuff. So I'm fully in, and this will be the most I'm ever locked in on the draft, period. Manuel Sharp seems like a solid second-round bet. Anyway, we're going to have so much time to talk about this and go over it. I'm going to get out of here. No stream tonight, no games tonight. We'll be live tomorrow night for the games. Again, there will be no Slightly Biased show next week. I'm going to be out of town vacationing. And the next time we're back, the week after, I do have plans for the show moving forward. That will be maybe a little bit different from this. Thank you, Kofi, for coming on. Great chatting with you. Thank you, Noah. Always great talking with you. You got Iceman stream tonight? Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do an Iceman live reaction stream tonight on Twitch. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to do a Slightly report later today, just going over like 5 guys in the draft that I'm unquestionably going to like more than everyone else. So anyways, I love you all. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to JD, the producers of the Millennium. Love you guys.
Who's it gonna be? My brain's gonna explode. There's something sinister afoot, absolutely.
Security at the Haymaker Network is provided by Smith Thompson. Secure your home now at smiththompson.com.